reckless and careless. Make sure you wear this. Trouble is rife.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Call Me Obsessed podcast. You know the moment when you're scrolling through TikTok, you hear a voice and you immediately go, I'm obsessed. Yeah, that was me the second I heard this man sing. I saw this clip of him performing As Long As You're Mine from Wicked, and the way he hit those notes, I got chills. I literally said, who is this? And before I knew it, I was all over social media. So that's what today's episode is called. Quickly Obsessed with Alexander Mendoza. He's a powerhouse vocalist, Broadway performer, and creative force who's been part of the Phantom of the Opera and Frozen. So let's welcome Alexander Mendoza to Call Me Obsessed podcast.
Yep.
Hi, Alexander. Welcome to Call Me Obsessed podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so honored. Now, I know you're busy, and I'm so excited that you said yes to this interview.
I'm really grateful you put me on.
I'm grateful for you being here. When you told me you had workshops, I had to Google on what that meant as an entertainer. Do you do that 7 times a week?
If you're blessed enough that people are working on new musicals,
Uh-huh.
like if someone says like, hey, like, can you come read this? Can you come sing this? Like, so sometimes like I'll do teaching workshops where I'll work with like college kids and high school kids and teach them. And then sometimes like a workshop of a new musical
Oh,
or they want a new song and just getting kind of so they can hear it out loud of how they want to build it from the beginning. As you know, shows change
absolute creativity.
over and over and over. Yeah.
It sounded so professional. I was like, that's so cool. It made me want to like go back into that because I used to act when I was little, like very little. So we're going to start with some opening act questions. Are you ready?
Yep.
If your life had a sound effect for every time you entered a room, what would it be and why?
I'm I'm embarrassed to say this one because it means like maybe it means I have a salty side. Uh, do you know Bewitched?
I do know Bewitched.
When
Yep.
I was really little, my nana, rest in peace. She loved Bewitched. My mom loves Bewitched, and my dad. And I do you know Endora, her mother, the
Oh
witch
yeah, the
mother?
redhead.
Yep,
Yep.
my nana was a redhead and sassy, like Endora. Not mean, but like definitely sassy. So I think if because I call myself kind of like a fly on the wall. If
Okay.
I want to make an entrance, I'd want her like the Samantha, and like it's like this. Like I think it's like a harp that they reversed.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
it's like it's clearly like a dramatic entrance, and it's like oh no, like
I
you don't
love
know
it.
who's coming. Yeah, I think I want the dramatic thunder reverse harp.
You
That's
want
not
to,
a
you want
banana.
people to know that you're there.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do it, just do it. Like make a noise that's loud enough, or don't do it.
I like that. That's a great TV show. All right, Alexander, you wake up tomorrow and you are invisible for 24 hours. What's the first thing you're going to do?
Besides panic. When I knew this question was coming, I genuinely sat there and it, well, because you know you go back to make believe of like if this is possible,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I think anyone would panic. No. Uh, what I'd want to do, I would tell myself not to do because you don't want to hear conversations about yourself when you're not there sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
I wouldn't either.
it's like you don't want I don't want to know my future. I will just think about it too much. But I think I I would probably force myself to go somewhere like a Disneyland Main Street and not people watch in a judgmental way, just watching them be in a nat this is so corny. I can't believe this coming out of my mouth. I'm sorry. Coming out in their like most joyous state. So I'd rather be like if I'm stuck like this for a minute, I might as well find it because I'm panicking. I might as well watch Joy in front of me.
I know it's like to the question you wake up, do you get a piece of paper that's going to ensure you that you get 20 only 24 hours? I would panic too.
Yeah,
I've
like I need this. I need to know this is going to end.
yes.
Because while I'm panicking, I want to see how people sit in their like joyous state at Disneyland's, eating their churro. Not in a creepy way, but like, oh, they're just so happy to like look at that parade float and eat their churro.
I
Like,
love it.
I'll
I
take
probably
notes.
would
Like,
I would sneak on some rides.
there you go. And maybe freak some people out in Haunted Mansion.
There you
Like that,
go.
that's when I'm like, okay, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it. Like, let's just
Okay, this next one is you can swap lives with any fictional character for 1 week. Who are you picking, and what kind of chaos are you going to cause in this world?
think I would pick Charlie Brown
Okay.
because there are many times in life as a kid I could relate to Charlie Brown, but as an adult, you wish you could say, Charlie, it's gonna get better. I think I'd be like, I think I would, I don't know, be like, Lucy, you're gonna pull the football. No. Or like I think I'd say Charlie get a toupee. Like you know what I mean? Like there's gonna be things in the future that will help you with this. Like there's what because the thing I love Charlie Brown. The thing I can't stand is everyone's so mean to him, and at the end they're like, "Yay, Charlie Brown!" Wait, and in my version, it'd be like, "I'm sorry, didn't you just like insult me an hour ago? We don't get to switch now that I'm a hero. Like we
Love
don't."
it.
I would be like, "No, I got a dog and I got a bird, and those are my friends." It's true because even like Linus and like as I have my Great Pumpkin mug, even Linus he, like yells at him and calls him like pretty much an idiot during the Christmas special. And it's like, geez, guys, like, and then they quote the Bible, which is beautiful, and then everyone's like, oh man, we were nasty to him. I'd be like, yeah, you were. Like, think about you don't imagine with Charlie Brown as a child with an adult thought. Yeah, it would make you laugh. Like it would. That's what I feel would happen. But it's true, like because you watch and go, my dad, because we watch it every year.
Mhm.
It's the oh Charlie, you know she's gonna pull the football, but his optimism's so good. I would run, not kick it, and look at her. They'd be like, no. Like I would teach Charlie for a week the word no and because it's too
That is
nice.
brava. I did not think you were going to pick Charlie Brown. This is the highlight of my entire day.
No, I really was like, yeah, I want to help him. Like I guess like a salty Charlie Brown. No, like
The bird and the dog. Oh, Snoopy. You worked in some incredible productions such as Phantom of the Opera and Frozen. What inspired you to first perform? And when did you first realize that your voice could really move people?
I think it's weird. I'm an introverted extrovert, but I think when I was little, I was incredibly shy and introverted.
Mhm,
I like people. Like that's a thing. Like people, I think introverts because you see those memes. Oh, I don't like people. I'm like, no, I like people.
mhm.
Um, I like to talk to people, like making new friends. I also recharge alone. But I think when I was little, I was just painfully shy along with that personality.
Okay.
Um, and my parents are very supportive and very kind. My brother did sports and they were very much you got to try everything. Like you don't have to love sports, but you should get involved in something. Like but I did do sports, but it was like, oh, that's not my thing, but you start what you finish. I like sports more now, but at the time like I don't know I don't really know why it wasn't my thing. It just wasn't my calling. Or I even tried like chess club and then the thing that started to stick was I loved like visual effects in movies. So that took like a film class when I was in elementary school. They had like a kids version of that into high school. My cousin Amanda did theater in high school
Mhm.
and she's about like I think 8 years older than me. So
Okay.
like she would babysit my brother and I and like for my parents and we would go see her shows and I think I was just fascinated by it all and I liked Oliver and she and my parents when I really didn't want to do sports, they were doing Oliver at the high school and they needed kids.
Yeah.
She went to my parents, Alex likes this movie, they're doing the musical. Can I help him audition? And they said, of course. And no performers in my family.
Okay.
And it's not like I was like singing all the way in the car. It like no one knew I could sing,
It sounds
but I
like
was
it gradually started showing interest. Is that what I'm hearing?
like, yeah, like I always liked watching the musicals, like the old ones. I was fascinated. Could keep my attention, like random ones, like the Harvey Girls with Judy Garland. Like there are movies or Meet Me in St. Louis, like movies that kids don't tend to like
That's so
sit
cool.
down and like devour.
Yep.
And so I auditioned for Oliver, and and my parents tell me this story, and I do dream that if I ever get to have a Tony one day or on Broadway, that my parents can somewhere say this. If you know Oliver, the opening sequence is all kids singing Food, Glorious Food.
Yep.
And I'm shy. They said, because it was a huge theater, like this high school rented a real touring house. And we had a big, I think we had like a
An
former
80.
tour set. Like it was huge. And they were like, he's gonna freak out the minute he sees all these people. And I didn't.
That is intriguing to me because I would, if I knew you and you're shy, I want to know why. Why didn't you freak out?
So I think like when my parents were worried that when the curtain came up, I was gonna panic, I mean, I was like 8 or 9. I don't know if when you are that little, you give into fantasy differently. Like all played like imaginary friend and things like that.
Mhm.
Maybe I was able to go to a place of as if I'm in the movie, like as if it's like in this world where you do make believe.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're little, that's easier. Like, and when the older you get and you know so much more, it becomes harder.
Yep.
Um, and I think in the moment I was just like, oh, I love to sing. I didn't know if I could. I knew I was on pitch, but I didn't know I was a singer. And then I kept doing their musicals when they needed kids, and I loved it. And then my parents put me in show choir because I loved it. Or then I was in voice lessons when I was 14, and I loved it. And then all of a sudden, you know, the drama teacher at another high school was like, we need boys in our department. I really like his voice,
At
and
high
I know
school?
he was, uh-huh. And they were like, we know he's having, I was having a tough time freshman and sophomore year, and uh, I heard he's having a hard time, and all of his friends from this children's theater happen to go to this high school. So, so then the district released me, and then I got to go to that high school, and they welcomed me. And so, he was like, I really think you could do this. And then I think the bug was bit where like I remember the first time my parents heard me sing by myself was maybe when I was 14, like really sing by myself. And they were happy for me, but I don't think they understood, like, oh, he can sing. Like they knew they liked it, but I love they're not stage parents, but I think they were like, well, we think it's good, but we're his parents. So maybe that's what all parents think, like, unless it's really bad. And then some people were like, your son can actually sing. And they're like, oh, thank you. Oh, that's so kind. Thank you. Your son, do you know he can? No, he can sing. Oh, that's so sweet. Like they genuinely, you know, and then I
It's like
started
a
going, "What?"
shield up in a
Kind
sense.
of like, yeah, they just, they knew I loved it and they knew I sounded good, but because they don't know that world, they don't know how, they will do what they can to help, but they don't know. It's not like they know what auditions are like, where to look. And I'd seen Phantom when I was a kid and I was obsessed with Phantom. That concerned my parents
We have that
a
in
little.
common.
Yeah, because it's like it's dark, and I was very upset that she didn't go with Phantom. Now as an adult, I know like, well, that's not healthy.
I
Like
wish
he definitely, yeah, but as a kid, you don't because it's so. But I used to be like, well, he didn't murder. Uh, he did stalk this girl that's not good. Like so, like my,
we
but
got
I was
over.
like, yeah, like I was like, but she loved him,
I know.
and
I
he
was the
loved
same
her.
way. He loved her.
And then, then fast forwarding, we'll talk about, then when I would go on for Raoul, like I looked at it differently. I was like, oh, this is why my parents were like, not so good. Um, but all that to say, like, I think it was, I think the bug got solidified the most when I saw Wicked at the Pantages in LA, and I saw Stephanie J. Block, and then it was like, it, it just was this thing of like, yeah, it was like,
I'm so
oh, I love this world. I love this world. And like then I was just, obsessed with it. And I think that kind of led, I think that's when I started figuring out when I was singing in front of people, still painfully shy.
yep.
And my parents my parents were very discerning, incredibly discerning about who to trust and who not.
Hmm.
And I think the people who were complimenting me to them were people they were figuring out were not just gassing them up to say it. And so then they started listening in a different way and listening to the shows I was listening to and understanding, oh, he kind of sounds like this person. Okay, and he's only 14. Oh, wow. Like, okay, we should get him in voice lessons. We should, because he wants to.
Your family sound. How lucky were you?
I very, very much so.
Wow.
Like the older I get, I think like any, teenager or young adult, you have your ups and downs with your parents, but I think um the older I get, I've been like, oh wow, like look at all the ways they've shown because they're people too. Like these couple like oopsie moments, as I'll call them. Like look at all the ways they've shown me they're great parents. And
Yeah.
so like I can't focus on like it's so immature to focus on the stuff that angered me or like that was unfair. Well, life is unfair. That's like the set like things can be unfair,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I think I started going, oh, but my parents like even in this tough time, they showed up to my show. Or even when this happened, they were still there. There have been times where you get frustrated at times in the business and ups and downs, and that's what you sign up for. It's part of it. There was right before I booked Phantom, I was going through a tough time with being close to things or not getting auditions. It just wasn't, you know, um, I had representation that maybe we didn't mesh so well
Yeah,
together.
that can be tough too.
Yeah, and that was hard. And I had been dropped by half of them because they were bi-coastal, so I was dealing with that. I turned 26, which means I lost my insurance. Like I now had to get, you're not your parents' insurance.
Yep.
And it was just so, and I was panicking, like the money I'd saved over time was starting to go, and my parents and my grandpa, I was like, well, maybe I need to come back to California. Maybe I need to find something, not something else, but additional, maybe I should take a break. And my parents were like, no, you should stay. It's very much like we can't let you come back because we think you'd be just giving up. Because they said, this is life. You're gonna have seasons that are down and seasons that are up and seasons that will throw a curveball at you. So you can be sad right now and you can be frustrated, but if this is what you really want, you can't just give in to that every time. And my grandpa, my aunt, all of them, they were just like, but there wasn't like, if you're not on Broadway, you don't count in our family. There was no like, this isn't good enough. This is not like I would book things and they'd just be proud. They did not care if it was the biggest theater or the smallest theater. I put probably more pressure on myself than my family ever could. Like I'll be like, but I want this. Not because like my parents are like, if you don't play this part, don't come home. Like,
I hear that.
oh good, I'm glad because
I hear
it's so
that.
true.
I'm so
It
like my parents are very similar, but it sounds like you got to live your younger self within a reality of a 13, 15, 16-year-old and still work on your dream and have
yes.
that support and not feel that pressure
Mhm.
and support from your family is so important. And I can hear that from the story 100%. So shout out to your family.
Well, thank you. And this industry is hard, and it's important to find, some people it's their chosen family, some people, if you're blessed enough, and it's so important the people you surround yourself with, no matter what stage of your career you're at, because it will impact the noise that you hear. And what I appreciate about my mom in particular, and my dad, but my mom, because we're very similar, if it's not good, she's not gonna be mean, but she's not telling me it's good
That's good though.
thing. And so like I am glad that like I have sent things to my parents and they're like, look, you always can sing. I don't like it. Or like thank goodness for big brothers too. Like there's a musical Stephen Schwartz wrote that I love called Children of Eden. And at the time it was like this is what like this was the song tenors sang. And my voice range grew over time. Like I was a baritone who I was determined I will be a tenor because that's where and I liked the thrill. Like I'm gonna do the work
Yep.
and this is what scores are being written. If I want to be in a Wicked or a Frozen or Jean Valjean when I'm older, this
Yep.
is what they're going to require. And so I want to, and I'll say I'm singing this song called Lost in the Wilderness, and my voice was definitely changing. So I'm like 14, maybe 13, 14. Like it's still like
Yep.
developing.
It's still developing and it's
Yeah,
getting
yeah, yeah.
stronger. And it's getting stronger.
Yeah, but big brothers who don't sing, I can remember truly, because my brother always had these like tiny little toy bat, collectible bats, and he would just swing them in the house. Like that was his like. Well, I sing everywhere. I'm not joking. He's just like practicing his swing in the house when
Yeah.
he should. And I'm singing this song, trying to, and he opens my door without knocking, and he goes, bro, you sound like, and
Oh,
and I said, and I cried. Like I was like, what? Like, I was like, he was like, that sounds bad. You can't hit that note. It's bad. And I'm not saying that's kind. It's not. You shouldn't talk to anyone that way. But I'm very lucky that at there's like there's both sides, right? Like maybe
Yep.
like I'm glad that my mom and dad were not like, oh, like isn't like my nana did this for me, but like my nana told me like I could do no wrong. Like I was like a prince in her eyes. But I'm glad my parents weren't like, oh yeah, he's a prince, or he is more beautiful than everyone else, or he's more talented. They didn't say that because they told me someone will always be smarter than you, someone will always be more talented than you, someone will always be more beautiful than you, someone will always have more. You have to love who you are and stop comparing. And I didn't like that. No kid wants to hear that. But now I'm like, oh, because I don't walk into rooms thinking I'm the only one that matters. I don't think I truly feel that way. As we were talking earlier, like, we're going to talk like thanking people, like, and so, so yes, my family is a big part of it. And I'm glad they're not yes only people. Like,
You're you're humbled and your family is very humbled. And
yes, they've humbled me.
yeah, and honestly, with your auntie and your mom and your dad and all the advice that I'm just hearing through this story, how lucky were you to have that? I mean, like wisdom that you've had at such a young age and to grow into the man you are now. How
I'm very, very
that is so
grateful.
cool.
I don't think I could do this career without God and that those two th otherwise I'd be in trouble. Like I think it'd be a mess.
I
Like,
think you should give yourself some credit though, because I think you're very strong from these stories.
oh, thank you.
Very determined. I also think you might be a bit stubborn on your own work. I'm hearing, are you a little bit of a perfectionist?
I definitely am. Definitely like I've gotten better about letting things be and not overcorrecting or just letting, you know,
Okay.
things live, but it's taken a long time.
Yeah.
I think because yeah, it's taken a long time, but no, you're not wrong.
Well, that's what's good. That's what helps your craft.
Mhm.
No,
That is
that's amazing. When you're up there getting your Tony, you're gonna have the whole family go up with you. You're gonna be like, those little hooks that drag
yeah.
you down. You're gonna be still thanking your entire family. You've been part of shows of Phantom and Frozen. How have these experiences shaped your artistry and your confidence as a performer?
Oh, a lot. Phantom, I was a swing in the world tour and I covered 9 tracks plus Raoul. And
Can you explain what that means? Does that mean like nine different parts that you had to know?
yeah.
Okay.
So I was a swing and I was off stage. We sang off stage every show, um, which that was great. Like I remember in the beginning we were like, oh, like are we like do we wish we were singing? And long term, yes, because then that was one thing you didn't have to think about when you went on. I
Okay.
know the score. I'm not second guessing my part. And they had a monitor so I could watch the show every day.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
so, I yeah, so I did a 9 different, all the entire male ensemble, some of their features. So if you know Phantom, there's like Passerino, there is the auctioneer, there's certain features, and there was another male identifying swing, and we shared that duty. So like yes, we both knew 9,
Mhm.
but I'd have like here are my first ones. I had all the tenors, and he could sing tenor too, and his first were all the bass baritones, but he also had to be able to sing tenor like I had to be able to sing bass baritone. So sometimes we had to switch and do the other. Like
Depending
if
on the night?
depending on the night, that taught me because so many people, and I don't like when they say that like, oh, I could never swing. You'd be surprised what you can do. Like you'd be surprised a few things. One, when it's your job.
Yep.
So the paycheck is coming. And so it is your job. So that, and you learn how your brain works. We are there, I think there were 5 of us. Lungelwa, she had done it before, and she was one of the swings. She learned by writing. She wrote everything down.
Okay.
Julia drew everything out. Oliver had a photographic memory, and he's strange. Like he didn't have to, and then, and then yeah, that's him. Like he just went, I'm done. Like he's eating an apple, and he's like, I learned it. Megan, who had swung Cats on Broadway, like she had swung before, and she did it by note cards, I
Okay.
believe. And I did video. Like I learned by video and watching it over and over and over again on my phone.
So you're a
So
visual learner.
yeah, and it taught me, and the reality was, It taught discipline where we opened in Manila, so I'm now in a country I've never been. I want to see things, but I knew we have 2 months before we open. I'm not on right away. I'm here not to play. I'm here for a job. And then it's like you do your homework, then you can go play.
Yep.
So I said yes to this. This is terrifying. I'm calling my parents crying because I'm scared I can't do it. I'm panicking in a country I've never been, thousands of miles away from, and so every day I just told myself this is what you'll do. And then if you know every track by Singapore, which is the next place we're going,
Yep.
then you can still check in with yourself, but you can go and they rehearsed me for Raoul so much. Funny enough, like that was the easy part. Raoul was the easiest thing I did of the whole thing because I was always in rehearsal with a Christine or a Phantom. So that was like second nature. And again, it's made auditioning oddly easier because you're like, if I was capable of learning nine people's tracks in a show and I can get up in front of hundreds and hundreds of people and be Raoul when I haven't done it in a month, and no one knows, like, they don't know I haven't done it in a month. If I'm able to do that, this is not that scary. And it's humbling too, because you sit there, it's a I say like checks your ego too. Like I got to be Raoul. Raoul was a dream role.
Yeah.
That didn't change though. Like, um, like I the next day you go in and you go back to your normal life
Yeah.
a little bit. So it's like, oh, I have to hold on to how special that was for myself for kid me, not for other people.
A humble
And
part.
because as we were, I was like, oh, that's right. Like in my head, I was like, yeah, I'm the heartthrob. Like, take it, teachers who told me I wouldn't play this part. Because I was told by people when I first moved, you'll never be Raoul, you're not pretty enough. And so like, I remember bowing and I'm like, yeah, like, like, take it. And like, but then the next day you're like, this didn't change anything. So like that was like the beginning of working on a show and experience can't fix this stuff. So then fast forward to Frozen, that was another way of like a different, I was on tour Phantom into the pandemic. I left February 9th, 2020. COVID broke out in Korea while we were there. We didn't know it was in the US yet.
Oh, yeah.
So I had all this time during the pandemic of the thing that kept me going was taking voice lessons virtually if I could, acting classes, writing music, editing music, like learning how to do it on my own while being able to socially distance from my producer in his studio, like, and having agency over my career because there wasn't much going on. Like there weren't really auditions. With Frozen, it was years prior, you know, the representation I had didn't feel I was right for that show, but I knew in my heart, like, this is my show, like, this is my show.
Oh, I love it.
And I was like how I felt about Wicked, or like there's a show, like there's things that call you, or like there's a reason why it feels
Absolutely.
like it's hard work, but it's like you just go and you like lock in to the world. Like it's like you fit the puzzle
When
without
you were
like
looking at Frozen, Alexander, was it a certain role or was it the show?
I think it I think it was the show.
Okay,
I
cool.
think it was the show as a whole. It was one of my favorite Disney movies, period. Before
Okay.
the music, I love Adina Menzel, always have since I was little. I love Casey Levy. So I think there was something like when Frozen 1 came out, I was on tour with Mamma Mia,
Mhm.
and Let It Go was, you're young, and I'm like, that's right, I gotta let it go. Thank you, Adina, for teaching me the
100%.
ways.
Yes.
And then Frozen 2 comes out and I'm leaving Phantom. So Into the Unknown, oddly enough, it just come out and I just put in my notice for Phantom. And what song, I'm a theater kid, Into the Unknown. I was like, that's right. Like get
Yes.
down to what I'm doing. And so I think Frozen in general was just like I could relate to so many people, Elsa and Kristoff, and like these
Yeah.
characters. That's what Disney does well. Like they make these movies for children, but the reality is they speak to people in different ways, no matter how old they are. And so I, my wonderful new agents who have been so good to me in a way that I can't quite explain, kind, patient.
So just to back up, you had representation during Phantom, then you switched during the pandemic to a
I
better
did.
team. that you were working with Frozen?
It was just time. Like even
Got it.
like I'd been there a long time. They knew me when I was little. It was just, things change and people change and they're very good at what they do. We didn't, it's like dating. It doesn't mean one's bad or the other. It's just it's not the right fit and it wasn't anymore. And so but during that like I get this appointment for Frozen for Hans. I get called back to cover Hans and Kristoff. And then it was called back to cover Hans and Kristoff and Oaken. And then it was, we love him, the track's not available anymore. I was like, okay. And then it comes around over time again, like, hey, this track is opening. Is he interested? I don't get it. And I just knew you keep showing up. Like if you like I was like, I really want to be in Frozen. I think it matches my skill sets. I love Disney. I love this movie. I just think it's a right fit. It was so, my Hans tape took me like it was one take each. And I'm not saying like it just felt natural. I was like, oh, that's it. Oh,
Yep.
that's it. Like I was like, and it didn't feel like forced. And sometimes that doesn't matter. Sometimes something feels forced and it works out, but it felt just like, wow, cool. And even in the room, they're a very kind room. As far as like the casting director asked me that day, like, how are you feeling? And I said, I gotta be honest with you, like, it's my birthday. This is the best birthday gift ever. I have a call, and she was like, seriously, it's your birthday? And I said, yeah. And this to get called back for a Broadway tour, that's a birthday gift. Like it's so hard to get appointments. It's so hard to get called. Like it's a hard business. When I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. They love me. The cast director was kind enough to bring me in for other projects to see where I could fit. Like she was so good to me. So good to me. And still is. And come the spring of 2023, I was pretty down. And my agent calls me and says, hey, are you free Thursday? The track is opening up in Frozen. They want to see you on Thursday. It's for sure opening up. And I say, yes. They said, okay, have you danced for them yet? And I said, no, I haven't danced for them. He said, okay, here is the dance combination. And it's really hard. They need to see you dance in order because they've only seen your scene work in your songs, but they need to see this.
Yep.
So I had less than 48 hours, and I canceled everything I was doing. And I went, great, I'm going to work on this dance over and over. They gave me information. Now it's my job to do the work. I went to the gym, was learning it in my living room, work like, and it was an all day thing. We danced in the morning, and it went really well. They had to stay. I had to do Kristoff and Oaken, and now it was no longer Hans right now because they already had that cover. And I remember going, I, I I was the most proud about my dancing. I move really well. I will never put myself as a dancer first, but I move really well for a singer actor. I remember going like, I did a really good job today. There's no way I'm not on their mind. And I was obsessed, or is Glinda obsessulated a little. I was a little, my
Call me
bless Mary,
obsessed.
yeah, call me obsessed, but like I was so sure there's no way I did not book that. And I did, and he was kind. I definitely bothered my agent often. I was like, have you heard? Have you heard? Have you heard? And the thing is, they're gonna tell me one way or the other. They're so, but at the time I just, they were patient with me.
You weren't patient with yourself.
No, not at all. Like not even close. And anyone who's like, "Oh, I had to really patient." No, I'm lying. I was not patient. Patience is something we're working on. They say ask God for patience. You regret asking that prayer. Like, like because he'll teach you patience. But I say that to say, so then it gets even wilder. In the middle of that, I was so fixated, like, hey, like, so, hey, Mark, hey, Mark, do you think they're gonna call? And he was like, I haven't heard anything, but I think you're still in the mix. Let's like, I got you. Like, we'll let you know. Okay. And then I get this audition that changed my life in a whole other way, which was a workshop for Galileo, a
Okay.
rock musical. And my agent was
Fun.
like, it's overnight. It was like, you need to go in tomorrow morning and dance. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Michael Mayer. He discovered Sutton Foster, had the Tony Award for Spring Awakening. That's David Newman. He choreographed Hadestown. But my brain, I think the gift of being so focused on Frozen,
Uh-huh.
I was like, this is a big opportunity. But I was so focused on Frozen, I couldn't be nervous about
Oh.
Galileo. Like I was just like, this is really cool. I probably won't get this because like, I'm not a name. So like, I was like, that's okay. Like Frozen's so close. And then I I go in for Galileo, and then 3 days later, I get offered that contract to do the workshop. And then in the middle of the workshop, Frozen calls. And
Gosh.
my brain was like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? Like, I couldn't, all the no's and all the, like, had I booked Frozen earlier in the year, I wouldn't have been a part of Galileo at all.
At
I
all.
wouldn't have been at all because I would have been on tour and wouldn't have auditioned and wouldn't be able to leave.
So you're halfway through the workshop then, or has it just started when you got the call?
I got the call, I think it was like the second week of the workshop, and I wouldn't start the tour for 6 months.
Oh, okay,
So
so
I
it
didn't
worked
join for
out.
6 months. It did. But it would with Frozen, it was like, okay, so Galileo finished. It was the first workshop, magical experience. I go into rehearsal I book Frozen, and then it hits me, oh no, I watched bootleg, I was like, I forgot this is a heavy dance show. Oh no. Like Kristoff has a dance break.
Yes.
Oh, I was like, I know that because that's the audition. Oh, it's partnering. Oh dear, I haven't partnered in years. Oh no, like, there's so many,
So the
the
worry is setting in, it sounds like.
oh, more than me swinging Phantom, like the panic of like because you get about 2 weeks to rehearse before you go into the show. So you have
Okay.
2 weeks to learn, and that yes, like that sounds like a lot of time, and it is a lot of time, but depending on how you learn, it is so
Yeah.
different person. And during rehearsal, I was like, hey, I got to show up. I emailed the music director because she had sent me, she'd reached out to welcome me, and she's very sweet. Her name is Faith. And she's like, what harmony do you want to sing? I said, can I do tenor two, tenor one? She was like, great. I learned the entire score before I got there. I was like, we cannot worry about that. I knew all my lines as Kristoff and Oaken before I was like, we can't worry about that. And so this long buildup is like the thing about Frozen was when that process was learning, struggling. I was surrounded. Our dance captain is this highly successful dancer from American in Paris, Frozen, as Anastasia on Broadway. This man is a dancer, and I was like, okay, so I'm not about like I want to show like I'll do the work. The new swing, who is like my buddy, phenomenal dancer, but he fresh out of college. Dancer. I
Yeah.
have these two little girls. We have three new little girls, Anna and Elsa, and like they're like little kids, so they're just like I know my lines, and like they're like nailing it. And then this track, like the way I learned was just so different. And he and so what my life was for 2 weeks, it was like I would learn during the day, struggle, film him, run to my hotel, maybe eat something, and then work until midnight, going over numbers over and over again in Frozen in my
Where? In your hotel room.
hotel room. And then I wake up. If you know the show, the Huga dance is actually one of the hardest parts of the show because it's different patterns for each line, and
Yep.
Oaken has his own pattern with the mugs. I'd wake up in a panic at like 5 a.m. being like, Huga. And I just get up and like start doing it and like watch the videos until like 8 in the morning. Then I'd go to rehearsal probably an hour and a half early, work on it. And then they would all show up, our stage manager, the dance captain, okay, we're going to move on. Let's see what you retained. And then we would move on to something. And then so that, and all leading up. And then the wildest part is after the 2 weeks, Frozen happened to be going on a layoff. So I wasn't making my debut in 2 weeks. I had 5 weeks to sit on it and think about it. So when you learn like if it's a show running, you get a few weeks to learn if you're lucky, and then
Yep.
you usually you're put in with
Yep.
the whole cast and understudies, and then you debut it maybe that night or
Yep.
the next. This situation, I joined the tour, learned it, didn't have my put in, and then they went on a 5 week layoff.
What does that mean though? 5 week
Put
layoff.
in? Oh, so like the tour was just on a hiatus.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 5 week hiatus because
Okay.
we were moving into a different part of the country, I believe, and like
Okay.
and they were setting up. So I had 5 weeks to sit on it and panic and work on it every day. I
So
literally,
you're still panicking.
oh,
I
absolutely.
would think the 5 weeks would actually like loosen that
No,
up a little bit. It did not.
no, not even all. I think it made it worse because I was like, I just need this. I need to know I can do this.
Okay.
And
Fair.
and I bootlegged the whole show and watched it all the way through every day.
Smart.
And we get to when then we show back up, we're now running it, it's going fairly well. They're like, good job, Alex. Like, and it's just a hard show. I mean, Rob Ashford is an amazing choreographer. His stuff is beautiful and challenging. Like, and also it makes sense. There's like a reason why it's there.
Yeah.
It's just hard when
Yeah.
you don't dance first. And that so leading up to it's now my debut day, my parents are there. I was like, you know what? It's gonna be what's gonna be, but I did the work. So let's go back. I really told myself this. People who are gonna listen to this think I'm gonna be like a magic 8 ball or like a cheese ball. Like it's like, but it's really how I am. But I thought, okay, my parents told me this morning. They flew out to Rochester to see me, and they said this to me in high school. Did you do your best? Did you do everything you can? Truly, genuinely, because only you know that. Did you actually do everything? Because sometimes we tell ourselves we did, but we didn't.
Yep.
And I said, yes, I didn't sleep. That's the thing I could have done for myself.
Yes.
They said, they said, you're gonna mess up tonight. Everyone messes up on their first show. Something won't be perfect. It's inevitable. That is human. It's your first time.
Yep.
You just take it scene by scene. And I am more proud to dance in the ensemble of Frozen than anything I've ever done. Like, yes, and dancing Kristoff's dance break. Not playing Kristoff, like that was a dream come true because I've always wanted to be a Disney prince for Disney theatricals.
Absolutely.
But but like Raoul and Kristoff, if they're not dancing, it's pretty much the same. Like, okay, sing a song, here's some scene, and that's what I've always trained in. So it's not that
Yeah.
that's not hard. It's just that's more natural.
Yeah.
But you have to be. My debut as Kristoff was at the Kennedy Center, and to realize like, oh, that's right, the dance break is an act two. I have to dance in front of an entire audience by myself, and then I'm surrounded by dancers. And so because people would be like, "Oh, are you the most proud of like Frozen because you're Kristoff or Raoul?" And I'm like, "No, dancing in Frozen, I'm more proud of than any role I've ever played because it taught me if you really, 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 really do want this, if you really, you're gonna have to learn. Like, I may never be in a chorus line. That's fine. That's not my show. I love watching it. That's okay. It's not my skill.
Yeah.
But there are skills I have that are going to be required of me in shows, like singing high. Sometimes songs are just not for you. There's some they're not for me, but I knew very young if my voice teachers who I respect are saying your voice will keep developing if you keep working on it. Great. So like years ago, going in for Love Never Dies, which led to me booking Phantom. I was in to cover the Phantom, and the high note he sings Until I Hear You Sing, I just was inconsistent. But I love the song, and I knew maybe one day I would get to play the Phantom in that show.
Yeah.
So I spent 4 years working on it. I was like, this is important to me. I know it's there. I can't, and so I think it's like it doesn't. Another word, one of my teachers, VP Boyle, he told me this with Wicked. He said sometimes the role you dream of may not happen, but it's the fuel to get you to where you're supposed to go. Like it teaches you things like going for Fiero taught me what headshots may look are the leading man headshots, or it taught me what are the men playing these parts wearing in an audition. How are they carrying themselves? What are they singing on the internet? What kind of songs do they put forward? How do they style their hair? Like it taught me that and how to read a room in that way. And then Frozen taught me like if this is it's hard. So if it's gonna then if you want this, you booked it. So now it's your job to take care of that part.
It's like a dream challenge.
It was. I mean, and
Yeah.
once it took me a month of a run to
Yeah.
finally be like second nature. But
Okay.
we're talking a month of like not staying in the dressing room, always going down early to the stage in my costume, going over choreo. It was a month of asking my dance partners who were so kind, can I lift you? Can we go over this? Or like allowing them because I feel like women in theater get tossed around so much,
Yeah.
allowing them to say how they wanted to be held, like always giving them the freedom, say, you can tell me if your lower back needs to be held a certain way, just tell me. I'm not going to be offended. Like, I'm not going to be like, you're correcting my ability to dance. Your leg is up in the air, you're in a 40-pound ball gown, your body could hurt. Just tell me. And it's fine. Tell me.
Communication with your
Yeah,
support. Yes, I can hear it. I can hear it in the story.
yeah, and as sensitive as I am, and I am sensitive, that's not going to make me feel sensitive. Like, it's your body. I have to fling you in the air. Tell me. I'd rather you tell me and I get it right than you be frustrated or compensate for yourself. So it taught me that. And yeah, being around dancers, like there's one of my friends, we were the lackeys, the Duke's bodyguards, and he is a true triple threat. He really is a true, and this man's leg in this opening number is getting high, and I stood behind him.
Okay.
So we're dancing with these ribbons with this maypole. If you see it on Disney Plus, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they lift their leg, and his leg, I made it a goal. By the time I leave, I want my leg as high as his.
Oh, right
Like,
there.
yeah, because it was like, bah, like, and so that, like, I was surrounded by these triple threats, and I was like, oh, look at how they point their foot, or look how they like flare a
Yeah.
moment. Okay, and so, yeah, being in the ensemble taught me much more than I ever thought I could.
You're so observant.
I try to be.
Oh, you
I
are
try to be.
observant.
I try to be.
When I hear these stories, you really took lessons from all these experiences and adventures that you've had.
I'm
You need more
trying.
sleep, though.
Yeah, more. We've gotten better about that. Sleep is now a job. We've made sleep a
Good.
job for sure. Yeah, it was. And yeah, it's weird. Like when I'm bummed if I'm not working on something, I I will honestly I will watch parts of the Disney Plus one and be like, whoa, I danced back there with that rip, or like, oh wow, like, and not in arrogant way. It's to remind myself when things are hard or like you're not in something, because I think it's not popular to be proud of things you've done. Like I feel like we're taught to just move on. What's the next gig? What's the next thing? And
Mhm.
I try to remember even when it's hard, like I have my Frozen poster that everyone signed, like that was a dream. And just because I left the show 2 years ago, the tour closed last year, doesn't mean it means nothing. Like it means something to me. And I think the same with Phantom. Phantom was, right before the pandemic, and sometimes miss singing that score, but I still try to go, but you did get to do it. Like you, so even though maybe right now you want the next thing, you still got to do that. Like and I think sometimes it's just not popular to just sit still
Yeah.
and live in like, because my dad says unspoken gratitude is ingratitude. And like, and to sit there and be like, well, I may not be in a show right now, but I need to be grateful. I just got to do like the workshop of Galileo. We did another workshop. That was in the spring. That wasn't that long ago. But because it feels like that long ago, you don't live in, wait, no, no, I got to do this thing. And when I was little, you would never have told me Raul Esparza would be in front of me. That's one of my heroes, and he still is one of my heroes. But but as a kid, you think like, oh, maybe one day, and then you get into the adult world and you start like, okay, but what's next? What's gonna, you get
Yeah.
lost in that. And I was like, wait, 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 because this is very recent thought. I was like, wait, Frozen wasn't that long ago. I did get to do that. My final show, our Christoph was so kind. He called out for my final show, so my mom was with my grandpa back home, but for my dad to be able to fly out and see me and my best friend.
Oh,
Like so that my final show, he did that for me. Like, like not many people get to say what a gift someone gave me my final show. I got to bow as a dream role. Like that's not a common thing. So sometimes I try to focus on that. I don't succeed always, but I do try.
I
I
think
do.
I can hear it. Your
But
experiences mean a lot to you, and it's
yeah,
very apparent.
thank you.
Now let's talk about Wow. Because Wow, that song lives up to its name. What's the story or emotion behind the song, and how is it inspired?
Oh, when I saw that, I was like, oh, she listened to WoW. Like that
I
makes me
did.
so happy because not everyone knows like pop is like my passion.
Yep.
WoW. I collaborated with Joey Contreras. He wrote In Pieces the musical. He's written so many songs with Natalie Weiss. He's such a talented writer, and he sings. And his husband's this amazing cinematographer and a Broadway performer. And my friend Amanda Lopez is one of his best friends. And I during the pandemic, they're now all off of like you get a contract with songs every license. So if it's a cover song, you have to renew it every year.
Okay.
During the pandemic, right before it shut down, I was gonna make this like EP, this like Broadway EP, and then the world shut down, and I went, maybe that's too big of a thing. Maybe I don't know what I want to sound like on a mic. Like it's not the same resonant sound.
Interesting.
Like I don't really, and I love singing Phantom live. I don't like recording it
Okay.
because it depends on the mic you use. That can impact your voice. How much reverb or what mass like what compressor it can really impact. And at the time, I didn't understand. Maybe my voice doesn't match this mic for this song. So or
Oh,
maybe or to tell the engineer like I don't like that compression because it's making me sound like it doesn't have the same, it's making me lose texture in my voice. Like there's so many things that can impact a voice
I didn't
negatively
know
or
that.
positively. So it started with like, well, maybe I'll just come out with a few songs I love, and each one was for nonprofits at the time, and
Hmm.
then just see what I like and what people respond to.
Yeah.
And the first one was called At This Table, and that's on YouTube, but it was Adina's song on her Christmas album. I was like, oh, there's no men who've sung it on iTunes. And so I did that, and that was released during the holidays. But like it was for Black Lives Matter and Broadway Cares. Like anything that was made got donated to that.
Wow.
And then then in the new year, I was like, we'll do Into the Unknown, like my version of Into the Unknown because I love this song. And like anything for that went to, I believe It Gets Better, the Trevor Project. Like there were specific things for each because I was like, maybe that will help people listen and then it makes money. I don't want the money. I then it goes somewhere good.
Yeah.
Um, and then the third one was the Morieston Phantom song Home with my Christine from the tour, who's like this famous opera singer in Australia. And so we recorded Home. And that was like for the Actors Fund. Like so I had and so then during that process I was playing with okay, like really I want to do pop. Like I'm glad like my grandpa and my aunts love the Home song and Phantom and I'm glad my
Yeah,
mom
they're
loves
very
it.
different.
They're very like it was like
I had to think about it for a second. I was like, whoa, that was a shift.
well, yeah, and like Into the Unknown, the way we did it was like a Phil Collins, like Power Adina, Celine Dion kind of ballad kind of way. Like it was very Disney, like it would be the credit version if and then like At This Table, like made my family cry. Like so each one I was like, okay, so that's but now I want to pop like I want to do a pop song and I asked Amanda to reach out to Joey. We zoomed and I told him I want a song, I want to write a song that is about what if you could walk through life as yourself? What if you didn't have to, at the time, it was always about, I always have to walk in a black fitted t-shirt and jeans into an audition. I always have to make sure this is what the leading men of Broadway do, and this is what I have to do to get in. And that's part of the game, sure, but I was losing sense of my my way, not myself, but like, why am I scared to do a pop song? If someone doesn't like, they don't like it. If someone prefers the Phantom stuff,
We're
that's
staying
fine.
on a path. You were staying on
Yeah.
this path and you weren't getting off of it a little bit. You weren't bungee jumping. You
No, I just was like,
were on
maybe
on
I'll
the
just
rides.
yeah. And I was like, well, and so he was like, okay, I have an idea. And the thing that I find I do well, I can write a story down on a song and know what I want the sound to be, and then have someone who's really good at lyrics take my words and make them into lyrics and then adjust them.
That's so
Like, but
cool.
writing lyrics is really hard. Like that's not, it will sound like a 10-year-old's diary entry if I wrote it by myself. Like it really will. Like
Same here.
it's not it. Like it's not the moment.
But that's so
Um
powerful that you found someone that can take what you wrote down.
mhm.
That's I've never heard of that before.
And he did it really fast. And he gave me two different songs. It was a ballad and then Wow. And then I brought it to James, who was producing. He's a producer in LA and a friend, and he was like, "I'll produce this for you." And then it went like we changed the key, and then the melody started changing, and then it just became like I'd had this. I could see different colors in my head when I heard it, and it was supposed to be this like pop anthem for people to like some of the lyrics in it about talking about like I let myself sit there and I sat in the sadness or sitting there and what if I could just let it out and it's like it's a simple statement, but what if you did walk into an audition in a lavender sweater like but it was like and what's cool, that whole the main vocal on that is one take. He was like, let's just sing it and let's just see what happens. I'm not saying like there's not layers, there's not edits, there's not punch-ins, like there's and singing like if there's a
Yeah.
phrase you don't like, you can punch in that phrase.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say it's not edited. Of course it's edited, it's a pop song. Like there's effects on it. Like that's I wanted an aesthetic. And I told him like I'm not afraid if people hear I know I can sing. So if this has an electronic sound, that's what I want. It's appealing. And it when it came out, I was like, oh, that was fun. I want to keep doing original songs. And so then it was an interesting, it just kind of came out of a I was learning to wear color for the first time. I was not focused on what roles I could play as much as like I'll just walk in and be in myself. I'll play the character, but instead of pretending to be this thing, that's exhausting. And so that's when so that's what I shared with him, and then that's the idea he came up with, and then we kind
How
of went from
therapeutic.
it was fun. Recently, like we have like 3 song ideas, and again, like I hear each one and I'm like, if I go this route, this is gonna come with that, no matter whether you're famous or not. There's just a certain aesthetic that's gonna come with it. If I do it, it does like I want to be able to set up what's the financial aspect I can do it in the way I'd like, responsibly. What can I do on a dollar? What can I who loves me enough to donate their time and I'll feed them in pizza? No, I would pay them. But like, like what can I do? And always, but I believe like pay people for their skill. Like that's I think why I didn't too. Like I have people cinematographers who are so talented. I don't want to do and ask them for a discount. That's not right.
Okay.
They deserve to be paid what they charge. A photographer, like I want to be able to do it where they're like, hey, like it's this much. Great, here's your Zelle or here's your check. Thank you, like, and show the respect they deserve. So that's such a pleasant experience, like paying a choreographer because I want it to be dancey and like, but to make sure because we all, I'm sure you do, and make you can feel taken advantage of with your talents and your skills. And yes, we should help each other. And you can always, I've traded with people. I'll edit this song or edit your self tape. Will you help me? Will you plunk out this music
Yeah.
for me? But I think it's like my dad, unspoken gratitude is ingratitude. So,
Yeah.
that's why I want to be able to do it and do it. Be like, that's right. I fed you all and I paid you. That's right.
I
Like,
think that
we
is
did
so
the
cool.
thing.
I
We
think
did the
that's
thing.
so cool. It's like it's kind of like I'm an adult. Like you're an adult. Well, we're all adults, but like it's like yes, I made a
Yeah.
budget. I
Yeah.
got what I wanted. I had like no, I know exactly.
I almost spit my
Exactly.
coffee out because it's true. I guess that's what I was saying. It's like if I'm gonna do this, I want to be like, that's right. Like I still feel proud when I pay my bills. I'm like, that's right. I can pay my like. That's so weird. Like you wouldn't think that because it sucks, but it does suck. Like it just does. But there's
Oh,
something like
yep.
that's right.
No, I loved WoW, but I also think WoW for me observing what you just said, it gave you a voice in so many different ways. I think it's so cool how you knew what you wanted all along. And then you
Thank you.
found the song and it was like what you envisioned.
Thank you.
Like
Uh,
that is
I
so cool.
appreciate that. And to do studio singing is so different than singing live. It's such a because you're aiming for an aesthetic and a sound,
A certain
like
feel.
yeah. So it's like wild. Like so, I think like the fascinating part of the behind the scenes of building music and what I live for it. So to be
You're an editor too.
love it. Oh, I love to do it.
I can
Because
tell.
I think it's fascinating. It's like to take someone and I'll tell someone like if I've recorded them or when I first started recording music, and this is just true, and people maybe not like this, but he said, "Listen, I can I can adjust a pitch if you're flat or sharp. I can adjust that. What I can't change is the tone. What I cannot change is the performance." He said, "So I want you to sing this song. You probably aren't going to go sharp or flat, but I want you to sing it not being a technical singer and sing it the way you sing it or you were the star and you were in charge of the rules and not care if you slightly go flat, just keep going. Like
Yes.
don't think about it doesn't mean remove your technique. It doesn't mean erase, obviously, there's a difference between the vocalists and certain people who are like artists and entertainers,
Yeah.
but it definitely taught me like recording WoW and the other song, the demos me and my a friend have been working on. When I record them, I'm not thinking how high should I go or like, oh, spin vibrato, straight tone. Like that doesn't cross my mind. It's more of like, what's the vibe you want to give people.
And I
Fascinating.
and I love that the people you're working with communicate with you so well. So this is a
Mhm.
fun experience in getting what you need for the recording because there is a difference between live performing and making a record or working with other people. I think it's really important that you know and that you love doing that.
And it teaches you too, it is humbling. Like when you hear your voice and there's a software called Melodyne that is not auto-tune. It's for minor to like every singer uses it,
Mhm.
real vocalists. The things you can do, like it scans your voice and you can like tune ever so slightly and you'll
Oh
never
yeah.
know. And I
Yeah.
say that to say that like it's humbling and also I treated watching my voice in Melodyne like a baseball player has to watch their pitch. Like they have to watch their pitch. My brother had to watch his pitching over and over and over and over and over again when he played baseball.
Yeah.
I should watch my perform. I should be like, oop, 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 oop,
Oh,
oop,
you
we're
can
going
watch it
back
back.
there. Like, yeah, like you're like, I need to be. Where was my placement? Because I do live musical theater. Pop, fine, one thing. I'm not probably singing these songs live. This is for a vibe. But I have to be able to sing that Broadway song 8 times a week. Ooh, we're like slightly flat. Like, what happened there? And it is humbling too because the people I worked with, they're like, they don't take it personally. I never worded it like this, but essentially, that's bad. Okay, well, we just spent 3 hours on it, delete, like, and then you move on. Like it's not, it's an interesting creative bubble.
Yeah. But you
You
said that so relaxed. Like, okay, it wasn't good, like you just move on. Like
know, like
that's
that doesn't sound right. I've played demos for people who I respect, and they're like, no.
that is different from the performer on Broadway to the
Yeah,
recording Alexander.
it's very different. I also think when you have autonomy, it is different too. Like when you
Okay.
are that when you're in charge, like if you get to act, if you're in charge, it's different. Like
Yeah.
you are in charge of it all, and if you're, so I think that can feel a little different
Yeah.
because it's also a realm you'll never know, which probably trails into the one of the questions. Like you're never going to know what people respond to, what they don't respond to.
Exactly. You never know. All right, Alexander, before we wrap up, what artist would you love to work with?
I have two, and I won't. Kelly Clarkson and Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande is by far of the pop vocalists is my favorite. I think, and that's not because of the Wicked video. Like I've always loved her voice and her, as we talked about engineering and her involvement in the writing process and editing process and her ability to stack vocals and when I went through a rough time last year where I had a minor vocal injury
Oh.
and it only lasted about I healed very quickly. It was minor, but it felt awful. And my way of kind of getting back on the horse was her music was low and high enough that for my voice to start easing into things.
Hmm.
And so and it also reminded me she also helped me more vocally as a pop singer, like how she stylizes pop music. But listening to it, it was just like it helped me get back in my confidence of like after not singing for like a month and a half. And it was I mean, if I could record, like, there's a song she sings with The Weeknd called "Save Your Tears," and and I'm like, I want to sing this with her. And then Kelly Clarkson they both can just do no wrong. Like the fact they also have
Like
recorded
Clark can sing any song. Any
uh,
song.
truly the two, and that's what's wild. Like and I think, and with Kelly Clarkson, I think what I've also always loved about her as a musician was her being so open and honest about how long it took for her to actually be able to make the album she wanted because she wasn't allowed to. The way she is genuinely and consistently of what I've heard through the rumor mill, so kind. Like that, what we're seeing on TV is just her.
Yep.
Like I know she can't be perfect, she's human, but same and like and watching Ariana Grande journey that hit me because she was so determined to be in Wicked and outwardly obsessed in the sense of like I know I'm right for this. Like she showed the world it's that she was a nerd, that I want this more than you even realize it. And even if it maybe annoyed people, maybe it did annoy people. Like we all seen interviews where John Chu was like, she's a pop star. I don't want a pop star. She kept coming in and wowing me, and she showed that I will like. Remember we talked about earlier about respecting the no, it's not now, and finding that fuzzy line of you want to show them that you're respectful of their decisions, but showing them that you have the tenacity to keep like, let me show you.
Yep.
I thought heard what they at least told us publicly of their journey with Wicked, and I had this big audition um, for a dream opportunity, and that morning, so that Monday, I found out I had had a minor vocal injury. But I talked to my ENT, and she was like, "It's so minor." Now I'm crying because it could have been worse, but in my world, it was for to not sing for 4 weeks felt like at the end of the world.
I'm cut off.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was
What is
just
cut
like,
off?
and
Yeah.
and to not talk about it either. Like, and so my ENT said, I said, well, I have this call back Friday. It's a big. She said, you can go sing. So see, it's not even as scary. Where she was like, you should not go.
Okay.
Um, but my heart was broken. Like I was like, okay, so I spent the next day and I went to a voice therapist, and then I went to, and then I checked in with the voice therapist, and I went 3 times back to back. And then the night before my callback, had me sing for her, and she was like, "You're gonna sound great. You're healing already." But my brain, so that morning, I get up really early. I do all the exercises she tells me to do, and this interview is it with Bowen Yang and his best friend. I'm blanking on his name. They have that podcast, Las Culturistas. It's very funny. They interview all these pop
I've
girls. It's
heard of
very
it.
fun. It's really fun.
What's it
And
called?
Las Culturistas, I
Okay.
believe. But she did this interview and she was open about wanting it so badly and open about genuinely leaving in the room. I had nothing to lose. I left everything there. I need to show them I'm not just the pop star, and I get why people didn't. She was like, I get why people didn't want me to play Glinda. If you only knew her pop stuff. She was like, of course it's not Glinda. Positions, the 34th, song, like, it's a, this, it's a naughty R&B pop album. Like, of course, like
Yeah.
people don't put those two together. And I was listening to it. I was like, wow, this is fascinating. And then I moved over and it was talking about her and Cynthia Erivo and how they just did it. They just showed up. All the work was there and just said, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to actually just leave it here. And I was like, well, I have nothing. I can't control what happens with my voice today because it may not feel 100%. I This is a new role. No one's seen it. So I remember switching gears and I've never worn my glasses in an audition. I always used to wear boots. And I decided to wear my glasses and these flat shoes and dress a little bit more like myself as opposed to what I think. And I just kept listening to like this interview as I was walking to the audition, and I was like, she literally showed up and said, I'll show here's my eyelashes. Like, like I will show you I want this. And she made it where it's like showing people you want something is also cool. The whole idea of like, I don't want it, whatever, is also not attractive sometimes too. Like, to show care is actually important. And so
I
that
prefer.
yeah, it made me, I was like, wow, even a mega superstar had to show she wanted this. And she was pretty honest over the last decade of how badly she wanted this part. And even though the I didn't end up getting the role, it showed me it was just an interesting interview to hear before about what it's like to actually pour. I've always poured myself into everything, but not like that. Even Frozen or Phantom. I
I was
did,
saying,
not to
it
this
sounds like
degree.
you're frozen.
And funny enough, it didn't feel like that because I did, but it still was like, well, Kristoff has to be like this. So when I read the show, it still is this. Oaken still has to go hoo hoo. Like that's still in it. Like those things are still part of that world. You still have to have a reindeer voice for Sven.
Yeah.
This is the Disney. So there's an aspect of still playing here is our piece at Frozen. You obviously bring an essence of yourself with it, but this is the track. This is the job.
Yeah.
This job didn't exist yet. This role wasn't a thing yet. Like no one had
Okay.
seen it. No one has seen it. And so to be able to be like, I want this and I'm going to show them. And it was a very positive experience. So that's why I say like Ariana Grande, because the music part, but she's not afraid to say, yeah, I really wanted it.
The
And Kelly
drive.
Clarkson, yeah, and Kelly Clarkson's not afraid to be a weirdo on television and then sing her booty off. Like, she doesn't, or like her body journey was her choice and she didn't, like, it's her personal journey
Yeah.
and she was open about it and didn't care what people were thinking. Like I'm just doing my thing and admitting how this her world turned upside down with American Idol, right? Like admitting that had that not happened, like that was
Yep.
there's a humility. I think there's an honesty that they two have chosen to give us, whatever they've told us, that I hadn't seen maybe in a minute from celebrities or big high profile people.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to like I want to sing with them and then ask them questions.
Love.
Like, How do you stay confident but also accessible? How did you feel when people were like, yeah, Ariana Grande should be in Wicked, and you're like voting for yourself online, but then you have this
On to
major
their
direct,
own ability.
yeah, like, but then the director was like, oh my, like it's in the featurettes where he was like, oh gosh, this girl, this pop star really wants to be Glinda, like she posts about it, and then like I was like, dang, like,
I think I
could
watched that documentary because she would not stop. She was like, "Do I cancel my tour? Is it that one?"
yes, yeah, that's what I mean. Like I was like, oh, I would do the same. I get you. Like this is like,
I was thinking the whole time, like, why is she not wearing green? Because I always saw her as Elphaba.
and we all thought that's what she was gonna do,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Because she's
no,
saying in
she's
the
wearing pink.
anniversary.
Yep, dyeing her hair, kind of like
Yep.
method acting. What you
Okay.
saw from her,
Yeah.
you embodied.
Kind of, yeah, and Cynthia Erivo too, because you don't always get to see their audition, and their auditions are in places I've auditioned. Those videos I've auditioned, those are casting offices in New York for Broadway shows. Like I was like, I know, they walked in a room just like I have. Like they had to walk in the same way. Yes, they're in a different place in their career, and I admire them. Oh wow, they had to show up to like she sang Defying Gravity in her audition as written.
Yep.
She was like, I'm gonna and she but it was like it was just like watching that when you are feeling like yeah, I was like I have nothing to lose, everything to gain, and even this part doesn't become mine. Nothing I can do about it, but I can want it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to dream about it. It's
You
okay to
saw
fight.
her laid all on the floor, and you know what that's like.
Hmm.
I love that you're drawn to such powerful artists.
Hmm.
It's amazing. And you take what they give and you take it and you learn.
Because again, they only let us in so much, which is their right, of course. So I take it, at a grain of salt because it's social media and, they've, but if they're going to share something that resonates with me, I'm not trying to be, I don't, I'm like, if God wants this to happen, it'll happen, but I can take something that's inspiring. Like this podcast, maybe I was praying that morning and maybe it fell into my lap to I needed to hear something that would get me to go to my 10 a.m. callback and feel confident. And what can I take from that? Because if it's meant, it really, people say this, but I've learned the hard way. And now, if it is meant for you and you show up and you do the work, it will be meant for you. If it is not, you still show up, but you don't know where it could lead somewhere else. It could, so it was interesting and it was an interesting, yeah, the whole Wicked press thing. I like that they're crying all the time. I like they're so happy to be there. They're crying.
So close.
It's so joyous. And it's so like, yeah, yeah, celebrate. I don't want you to sit there like this is second nature. I want you to be a kid again and can't believe this happened to you, that you get this opportunity. It's an honor and pressure, but like when you get to be in those opportunities, like, yeah, I'm glad that they did the work to be able to handle those shoulders, like what it's going to be like, that they've been able to handle things like that. And I'm like, yes, like, so I'm like, I can't wait for more crying in this press tour. Like, I'm like, cry away, hold space. Like,
Right. Alexander, I can't tell you how appreciative and how much fun this interview has been. And
oh, thank you for letting me talk your ear off.
oh, I love it. Like, I think you are amazing. I think you are one of the most humble people I've met. For Alexander, where can we find you on social media?
Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, Apple Music, my full name, Alexander Mendoza.
Thank you again, Alexander, for coming on to Call Me Obsessed podcast. It has been a pleasure. This episode of the Call Me Obsessed podcast was edited, produced, and written by Amanda and Erin.